Good morning, kitchen witches. This is your tarot and menu inspiration for the day. I'm Chef Lisa, editor and chief of A Chef's Grimoire magazine. And we are going to shuffle the cards, and that's going to give us everything we need to know about the day. So, here we go. So we shuffle. When we're planning a magazine, we call them chapters, right? Not issues. And simply because you're learning as you go, right? With the tarot and also with cooking, right? This is building your technique, whether you're an advanced cook or a beginner. Same thing with tarot, right? You can never stop learning the tarot. So I focus the magazine to beginners in both the culinary and the tarot realms. So when we issue a chapter, it's going to build on the next. For instance, our first chapter was focused on the Fool. That was in January of 2026. Then our next issue or chapter was the Empress, the High Priestess, and Strength, all the nurturers of the major arcana. So that built off of what the Fool platform was. And then in July, we did the Magician. And the Magician was cameoed with the 4 Aces. So each one builds a little bit more on the next. And that's why I decided to call them chapters, right, instead of issues. But there you go. So you can check it all out at achefsgrimoire.com. So for our card of the day, it is the 8 of Swords. This, if you've never seen a tarot card, it may look a little not such a great situation. And we often find ourselves in this situation in life. Now, swords are our mental capacity, right? It's what we take in our mind, in our mind's eye. It's how we tend to decision make, even though it really should come from our gut. But we tend to decision make with our mind. And sometimes that could get you into a real pickle. So now 8 is the number of strength in the major arcana. So know that the strength card is holding this card up. So that's good news, right? Because strength is our gentle strength. It's not lifting weights and getting all buff and, you know, muscles. It has nothing to do with that. It's pictured as a maiden closing the mouth of a lion or tiger. And that animal is completely submissive, right? Because they know that the maiden will not harm them, but instead is asking them to do something simply by being gentle and kind and, just inner strength, completely confident that the animal will not bite their hand off or, eat them for dinner, right? So confidence has a lot to do with it. So now we're going to look at this card. This looks like this particular maiden has lost their confidence, right? Instead, they're thinking about all the things they did wrong, or they're throwing a sword at themselves with negative talk, negative back talk. Oh, I don't do anything right. Oh, I screwed that up big time. Oh my gosh, people don't like me. There's a whole bunch of negative self-talk happening here. And if you notice, the maiden has a blindfold on. Now that's actually the best thing happening right now, in addition to something else we'll get into later. But having the blindfold on, not being able to see, you have to see inward. You have to see with your third eye. And that usually tells the story of what's really going on, right? They just need the time to block off and put blinders on or put a blindfold on in order to see within and not look for external sources to get them out of this situation. The other thing is they're bound, right? They're bound from their chest to their middle with wrappings around them. So their hands cannot operate, right? Their hands are bound to them. But if you notice, their feet are free. And how do you escape? You literally walk away. That's it. Now, the water is, right now, it looks like it's just a puddle, but it's depicted as being a pretty big stream when the tide comes in. So where is this maiden at this point? Is she where the tide is going out, so she has time to escape? Or is the tide coming in and she doesn't have a lot of time to make up her mind, see where the truth lies, and walk herself out of the situation that she's in? Now, 8 swords are around her. They're not pointed at her. They're not pointing downward. They're just placed around her. Again, not in front of her, so she could literally walk right away from them. And all of these swords, every single one of them, is holding her down through her mind, through her thoughts. So, yeah, it's a precarious card. In the background, on a grandiose ledge of a mountain, is built a castle. So that right there says, well, that castle is on pretty shaky ground, because all they need is for another piece of that mountain to erode away, and that castle's going to go right into the ocean. So whatever this thing that put them in this situation was, it wasn't built on the best foundation. And therefore, a big old tower moment can happen at any time. And maybe they're a little concerned about that. You know, the tower is all about ripping whatever it is that's not working out from under us with very little acknowledgement of it going to happen. So it's a scary moment. And maybe they're thinking, oh yeah, well, you know what? I got myself in a real bind. And, you know, it could lead to this, it could lead to that, it could lead to this. And what happens if it does? Well, what does happen? That's when you have to put the blinders on. You've got to think your way out of it with your gut and your mind and all of your 4 senses, right? The senses that keep it practical from the pentacles, the senses that keep it emotionally balanced from the cups. The passions need to be really executed at this point in time to make it, the drive be there to execute the problem and make it a solutions. So that's fire energy. And then of course, the mind needs to be there too, to really focus and to take all of that energy and put it to good use. So when the 8 of Swords comes into your day, you're going to not self-talk to downplay to yourself. You're not going to tell yourself, I can't do this, it's too much, I'm not able, I don't have the resources, I don't have the money, all the negative things. No, because that's going to get you all bound up. But if, because we're human, we do it, then know that you can walk away at any time. So instead of playing everything down, turn one thing upright. So it's easy for me to say, harder to do when you're in the situation. But say you're driving in your car and you're thinking about all the things that are going wrong. But yet you see, I don't know, a large bird take wing from a tree, crossing your path to the other side of the road. Now that's magical, right? So stop for a second, whether you can in your car, literally stop, or take a moment from your negative talk to look, see the bird in flight, and just be absolutely stunned by the fact that their wingspan can not get caught in the trees, and they can fly, and they're very agile, and how wonderful that is. And then if you really think about it, say, well, you know what? That's a bird in flight. Here I am, a human on Earth, and I have the agility. I have the wherewithal to focus and to beeline for the thing that I want. It's not much different than the hawk taking flight, right? We have that power too, in a different way, with our feet on the ground, able to walk away at any moment. There's so many examples of this, but really, if you're going through a hard time and it's all right here, just know that you have to start to bring all the other senses in to relieve some of that mental pressure, and to know that you have the power to turn it around. You do, not external circumstances, not other people, you. So that's exactly what this card means. Now we're going to do something fun, right? So this will turn it around a little bit, because we're going to bring this card into the kitchen. We're going to cook with it. And I'm thinking, well, the situation here, we're thinking the tide's going to come in. So we need to think about last minute resolutions. So now your head has been really blown up with all of this garbage, and you still need to get food on the table. So we're going to do last minute meals. Yeah, don't think about another thing. Just throw it together, make it be nourishing, make it be something everybody loves. So for breakfast, everybody has eggs in their fridge. Most people, 99.9% of people. And some people even raise their own chickens, so they have their own eggs any time of year, which is great. So we're going to use them, right? We're going to make a beautiful breakfast. Now, you don't have to think too much about it. You could do eggs a million ways, right? But what's a last minute egg? Well, you could do a 6-minute jammy egg and put a little salt on it and eat it. You're done, right? If you want to get a little more elaborate, you have a little flour and sugar. You could turn that egg into a pancake, right? And use it as a vessel for a poached egg on top, which is kind of interesting. You could do anything with eggs. You could do a souffle. You could do a clafoutis, which is like a custard that fresh fruit goes into and bakes. That's really lovely too, with a little powdered sugar. You see where I'm going? You don't have to give it much thought. It's the egg. And if the egg can be anything that you want it to be in a matter of minutes or a matter of longer minutes. Eggs don't take too long to cook. Say 6 minutes to 30 minutes. It can be done and on your plate. So eggs, they're a saving grace for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but we're putting it in the breakfast category because it's the easiest to visualize, right? So there you go. Any of those that I mentioned, look for a recipe online. They're all delicious. The jammy egg, literally 6 minutes, as if you're hard boiling an egg, but you take it out in 6 to 7 minutes. Ice water bath, crack it, slice it open, and the whites are set, but the inside, the jewel of the yolk is still runny. And a little sea salt, that's really all you need. Delicious. So moving on to lunch, we're going to do sandwiches. Now, again, sky's the limit. Don't give it too much thought. If all you have is a can of tuna, guess what? Tuna fish sandwich. Lovely. If you got a little pickle in there, fantastic. Serve it with a pickle, right? Or if you want to do like a Mexican torta, you would take French bread, hollow it out, and then you can build all of the flavors inside. If you have ham or roast pork from last night, some pickles, right? You can make a Cuban sandwich with a little cheese. If you're going to be grilling, which that is, it's pressed and grilled, why not a grilled cheese, right? Oh, don't think too much about it. Just see what you have lurking around and put it between two pieces of bread. You're done. So easy. And I'll tell you what, I mean, a lot of times when I'm cooking all day and I just don't want to cook anymore, that's what I do. I just, grab two pieces of bread, put something that's left over inside, and I'm good. Maybe a little ice cream later. That's it. So done, lunch, sandwich. Can't be easier. Whatever you've got, right? It doesn't need to be elaborate, or it could be. It all depends on you, your mood, and how much you want to get your mind focused on something else. For dinner, we're going to do kind of like a goulash, right? So ground meat, whatever kind in your fridge, or if you're vegetarian, you could do mushrooms, whatever you got laying around. Cabbage, fine. Slice it up, shred it up. And you're going to saute it with a little pasta. And whatever pasta shape you like, it could be the small pasta, it could be linguine, whatever you want. And then sauce. What do you got? Do you have a jar of marinara? Wonderful. That goes beautifully. Ground meat, pasta, marinara sauce, a little zhuzh of, maybe you have a jarred pesto or pesto from your garden that you made. Put a few spoonfuls of that in. If you have a condiment called ajvar, then it is a roasted bell pepper, a little eggplant, and it's a not a paste, but like a thick sauce that you can spoon some of that on. Delicious. Anything you want to put on there to make it a little saucy, to make all the flavors marry together. Pop that in a bowl, eat it with a spoon. You're done, right? And everybody will love it. Throw some cheese on if you wish, right? Yeah, goulash. Now, if you want to really get a little more technical, then you could take the big old stuffed shells, do the same thing with the meat, right? But instead, you're going to saute your meat with herbs, whatever herbs you want. Basil would be nice. Again, that pesto would be nice, or the ajvar. And then you're going to take the shells, boil them so that they're supple, ready to go. Ricotta cheese, an egg, another egg, maybe some spinach, and then you put the cooked meat together with the ricotta filling. Into the shells they go, and a little more sauce over the top, and bake it, right? That's a lot more elaborate, but it will take your mind off of the bad things you're thinking about and put your focus into something that's more constructive, right? You can walk away for a minute so that you can prepare a meal that's nourishing and delicious for everyone. So those are a couple ideas of how to get out of an 8 of Swords moment. And do know, it's a moment. It's not a major arcana. It's a minor arcana. So it's a fleeting moment in our lives. And we have all the power within us to turn it around. So 8 is one step away from 9, and 9 is one step away from 10. So this card is just at the tip of everything resolving itself. Whether that means a tower moment, and then we have to really get back on the ball, or we go to the 10 of Swords, which is a person lying down with 10 swords in their back. Yeah, that's not so good either. But it's done, right? And then the job is to gently pull each of the swords out, as gently as you can, right? And mend yourself. So with that, do mend yourself here by nourishing yourself and nourish all those around you with your kitchen magic. See you tomorrow.